Hey everyone, it's Chris here from Badass Agile, and I promised I would introduce you to some people who are doing some really interesting things in the entrepreneurial space. So, just in case you didn't know, here's the premise. About 6 months ago, I had people starting to ask me, like, what's next? We're no longer having an easy time getting jobs. We can't just call a recruiter and have them hook us up with an Agile coaching job or Scrum Master job. And if we can, it's not paying what it used to. The jobs are not, there's not as much choice in the opportunities as there once was. So what's going on? Well, we don't even care what's going on, but what's next? What should we be focusing on? And so a lot of people, I think, are going the wrong direction. They're saying, well, let me surrender my prestigious Agile title and change it up let me go back to a PM title. Let me go sideways to a product ownership title or something else. And I think that's the wrong move. I think that there's so much potential still in agility. It just doesn't all exist in the big corporate tech space. So if all you're focused on is finding an opportunity, leading a software project for a bank somewhere, you're going to find that the opportunities are scarce. But people who've been in the game for a while know that there's still tremendous opportunity to teach small, medium, and even large business about how to innovate using Agile thinking. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to create an environment where we teach the things that they don't teach you in Scrum Master school around being entrepreneurial? That means how to find a target audience, how to figure out what they need, how to talk to them about what they need, how to market, sell, and engage people around what you do. And then that would give life to what potentially would be a new set of products that you sell that's completely your own. So you're no longer at the mercy of traditional job postings in the Agile space or recruiters finding you a job. It's completely greenfield. So today you're going to meet Dave. Dave has got a really cool idea. He's narrowed his expertise, what he teaches, based on what he experienced in the field. So Dave is a member of the Forge Genesis program. And he's going to introduce himself in just a moment. But I want to tease the ending a little bit. Dave has narrowed down his focus to build a product that will help people facilitate better meetings. And you might say, well, that's kind of table stakes for us Scrum Masters. It might be table stakes for you, but you would be surprised how many companies can't do this well and are saying, please, Dave, can you teach me how to do what you do? Which, if you ever hear someone say that, that's an opening into maybe there's a product here. Maybe there's something unique that I could sell, the only I could sell. So Dave, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Great to be with you, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Always. And we've done a couple of these things together.
Yeah.
It's always a joy. And so I'm really happy to see you. Dave, tell me about your background real quick. Where'd you come from? How'd you get here?
Yeah, so, it's hard to believe I'm almost done with 3 decades of working after college, but I started off engineering. My bachelor's degree is in engineering. I started off software development and then leading teams of developers and projects. I've worked in various industries from telecommunications to aerospace. I'm still in aerospace today. That's where I'm currently at. But it's always been about, driving to results.
Very good. At some point, though, here's the thing. With all the Agile people that I meet, some of them think of entrepreneurship as a dirty word because it means striking out on your own. Now you're responsible for all of it. Some people think entrepreneurship just means being a contractor in the Agile space. The problem with hours for dollars, is that you can only scale so big. What I like about what we're doing in the Forge Genesis is we're talking about a product. We're talking about something that we can build once, sell many. Did you always have an entrepreneurial bent to what you did, or a hint or an inkling that just maybe I should strike out on my own and build my own thing?
So yes and no. I've always had this thought in the back of my mind, but lately with Forge Genesis, it really made me think about it. And also when I look back in my career, I've been laid off a few times, and it's not because of my performance. In fact, I've worked for very fantastic companies, and I currently do right now full time during the day. The issue is every time I've been laid off, was either like after 9/11 in the US where, funding dried up, or the Great Recession in 2008, or there was a merger the last time I was laid off. So again, I work hard. It's not so much me. It was just the economic conditions. And When you have a family, that's a very scary proposition. You don't want to be in that situation. And then, especially these days, it's taking months, right, to find a job. And so I'm really, looking at how can I share that's mine. Nobody can take this away from me. And this is what I've proven. So this isn't just some idea I cooked up and I think it's going to work. I know that it works. And so how do I package this and get others to use what I've learned?
Right. Oh, great. So let me ask you this. You're talking about the thing that's just yours, the thing that you already know that you're good at. How did you discover that this was valuable? And how does this project, product, whatever you want to call it, reflect something unique about you, your passion, your voice, or your strength, something?
Yeah, great question. So this is where, especially those of us that are in software development or Agile, we think about the processes, we think about the product, but we never think about the communication and the collaboration aspect of it. Take one example, meetings. Everybody hates meetings. And sometimes the solution is let's have more meetings. And that's not the solution, but how can we make the gatherings that we have more effective with limited time? And whether it's a Scrum team with backlog refinement or sprint planning or a project manager trying to get a status update on what's going on, how can we make even a group of accountants that are just getting together? Like, it doesn't matter. Again, we're talking about how do we get Agile out there, right? These are techniques that we've learned through Agile that can apply to any industry.
Yeah. Hannah, how does this speak specifically, though, to your passion? Like, what is it that really rang your bell about this prospect?
My passion has always been how can I help teams with better ways of working? And then, in fact, that's what I name, this endeavor overall is better ways of working. And that's really what, if you look at the opening paragraph of the Agile Manifesto, we're about finding better ways of working and showing others or helping others to do it. So I've never had visions of being a CEO or this, stand up handsome leader, more of like, how can I be the person that helps coordinate everybody get together? And then they're the rock stars. And I can just be like that, whatever sports analogy you want to sit in here, right? A football, a basketball, baseball coach. Say, yeah, this is a championship team and they get the credit, but I'm happy that I coached them to a winning season. That's my passion. That's where I want to go.
So I don't know if you heard that, folks, but that was pretty important. What Dave is talking about is the ability to lift teams up wherever he goes, using just in one specific area, though. You're not laser focused on the sticky value creation and time to value conundrum that a lot of Agilists are struggling with today. How can we go faster? How can we do all these things? You're taking one area that I'm assuming you pulled from various parts of Agile and the surrounding beliefs and frameworks and things, and you've created something that you just know works. So tell us about it, Dave. It's almost like selling it like you're on Dragon's Den. Who is this for? How does it benefit them?
So this is for anybody who needs to lead, especially if you lead without authority. You don't have direct reports, but you have to collaborate with other people. So it could be a project manager, a Scrum Master, a product owner. It could be somebody who leads with authority as well. This is where I've brought together two main elements that together make a very powerful combination to make meetings effective. So it's like peanut butter and chocolate. When you bring them together, it makes a fantastic dessert, right? So this is where, if using industry-leading techniques on how to get people engaged in meetings, distributing the control throughout the participants in that meeting, at the same time combine it with visualization, whether it's a physical whiteboard in the conference room or a digital whiteboard like Mural or Miro. I call this the frame, flow, and follow through system. So these three steps, bringing together these two elements, will drive greater collaboration, better alignment, and you'll get more done in less time.
Right. So we're talking about something that, what I take away from it anyway, from your three phrase moniker, is that you're simplifying this for them. You're going to give them a formula, a recipe that will work in almost any meeting situation to make it faster and more effective. So it's like a hyper facilitation technique. Did I frame it? Did I say it right?
And I'll even talk about how to use AI to make it even more hyper.
See, because AI is pretty big right now, right? Okay, so what problem does it solve? Like if you were to go through the halls of an organization and pick out people who could use your product, describe that person. What are they experiencing? What do they like? What do they struggle with, if you can?
In various organizations, right, you ask people what are their greatest challenges, especially leaders without the formal authority. They'll say, well, we had a meeting last week and I thought we were aligned on this. How come nobody got done what we said we were going to do? Or I don't think I really reached the folks in that meeting. I don't think we were really aligned on what we needed. Or a week later, stuff got done, but it wasn't what everybody was agreed to, right? Those are the folks that I want to help with these techniques.
Okay. So here's something that I think everyone will enjoy hearing about, which is how is the fact that you're an agilist, that you've studied, you've worked, you've done the Scrum Master rule, you understand how to get people through Kanban, through Scrum, through various frameworks, how to get results, hopefully more predictably, more quickly. How have you used those skills to help build this product?
A great question. And it's been a lot of fun because we want to break things down and we want to iterate over time. We want to get feedback. So as you know, I've been iterating each iteration like I'm learning, right? Well, that didn't work. How can we tweak? And you've been a big help in giving me advice and leading me how to go. And so the current the current iteration of my product, I'm really excited about. And I think, every time it's getting better and better.
Good, good. And I agree too. Like you, of all the people in the Forge Genesis, you're the guy I always say who takes the most coaching in the sense that you dial me up and say, let's have a session tomorrow. And so that extra time that you're spending on it, I think brings results. A, because you're invested, the passion's there, no doubt. But because you're taking on the learning, and I can't give you all the learning in one shot. This is still a year-long program, so we have to take little pieces and say, just go try it. Go build something. Build me a product description, build me a flyer, let's create a webinar. Let's put something out there that people can attend so they can get their hands on the product. And you've done a great job of doing that. So consistency in the way you show up matters a great deal. But there's also a ton of techniques that I guarantee you most agile people don't know, but they wish they did, which is how do I find the customer who's going to buy this? How do I figure out how much they'll pay for it? How do I talk to those customers so that they trust me? They feel like I'm someone that they want to work with. It's not just what the product description on the box, it's the person behind it. I believe your personality, Dave, is a big part of selling this product, but there's still things that you can't just show up and be Dave. You got to do some salesy things. You've got to do some marketing things. You got to write copy. You got to build webinars. You got to go on social and start talking about your product or service. What were some of the things that you didn't know that, oh, that's the way you're supposed to do it? And prior to this, you would have gone around blindly doing stuff and maybe wondering, why isn't this working? What was one of the things that you took away that when you look at what other people are doing, you're like, oh, that's why they say that. That's why they do that. I get it now. What are some of the things that you've really learned and taken away so far?
Yeah, you've really helped us through Forge Genesis to really think about things and also how to tell the story. And like you were saying about selling, especially if you're like me, you don't really have a sales background, you're really more of a technical person. Sales can feel like icky in a sense, right? Like, hey, I want you to give me your money and I'm going to give you something in exchange. But that's not what we're doing here. This is where, again, my confidence comes from my background. I'm telling an audience a story. We build a community around it, and through that community, there's value. And then if people want to know more, there's more value that I can deliver, and that's through this product. So I've learned a lot through what you've taught us in the different weeks.
Good. Now, what did you learn from trying some experiments and having them flop? Because we had a couple things that didn't work the way we thought they were going to, right? But I think you have to go through that to find out what does work. So what are the things, if you can share with the audience, that we've already started to try that we're like, no, not this, maybe this?
Yeah, so I tried to sell this as a cohort and I did a half-hour webinar to talk about what we're going to learn. I don't think I picked the best day. I think it was, Good Friday. So not a lot of people signed up, or a lot of people will sign up, but then they don't make it, right? So the cohort didn't sell. But what is kind of working is, in drips. putting this out on LinkedIn, getting people to react to it, getting people to say, yes, there's value in these little nuggets that I'm putting out there.
Yes. And so for everyone watching this, if you've ever thought, man, I got some stuff that I could do, I could take to the market. If only there was room for it, if only I knew how to sell it, how to make space for it. There's an important lesson, an important takeaway you can get from Dave here. The idea for what did Dave decide? How did Dave decide to choose this particular offering as his go-to-market product? It was because, I'm going to steal your thunder, Dave.
Yeah, sure.
It was because people were coming to you and saying, Dave, that was awesome. Can you teach us how to do that? If you have people say, if you have customers saying things like that to you, they're basically begging you to sell them something. They're saying, you have something of value that we wish we could do. It's great that you did it for us, but we'd like to do it for ourselves too. And you jumped on that and said, look, I don't care if I ever run another stand-up. I don't care if if I ever run another retrospective. I don't care if I ever fill another dashboard out of my life. I want to focus on bringing these techniques to people because they're so simple and they work. You saw an opportunity there that I hope if you're listening to this at home, you're saying, wait a second, I got things that people tell me I'm awesome at too. I could do this. And I think when you hear about it, you're like, well, nobody else is really doing that, or that doesn't seem like it is a big enough service, right? I help people scale safe to 100,000 person organizations, but you don't have to in order to be successful. In fact, I would wager that the way Agile success, Jeff Sutherland is now saying 60% of Agile projects fail. Well, we're still doing something really, really wrong. And what you're saying, Dave, is that one of the things we're doing really, really wrong is we're not leveraging the time we invest in our gatherings, in our meetings. We're not getting the most out of it. And I think what you're offering is very unique. And it's just a small tweak on what you were doing before, but it's focused. It's focused on a very specific outcome that most people take for granted. So I'm really excited about what you're building. Do us this favor, because I want people to watch what you're doing. I want people to vote for you, to cheer you on, to pick their favorite Forge Genesis member and get behind their product and learn more about it and connect with you. So where can people find you and your product?
All right, great. So for your listeners, I have a PDF that I put on a special URL here for your listeners. It's badassagile.betterwaysofworking.com. That'll go to the store with the PDF, but enter this promo code BADASSAGILE, all capital letters. You'll download it for free. Read the guide about frame, flow, follow through. And my email is at the end. And I also do a 1-hour live Zoom lab every once in a while. So you can sign up for that. And again, for your listeners, I will give a special promo. They can get tickets on Eventbrite, but I will help you live implement what I'm talking about in the PDF. The PDF will immediately give you some tips, especially with some AI prompts that your listeners and viewers can use right away. But if you want to know more, let's do a 1-hour live lab. You get your tickets. I'll give your listeners a special promo code. Again, that is badassagile.betterwaysofworking.com. Use a promo code BADASSAGILE.
Well, thanks very much for that, Dave. And I hope people take advantage of it, because the way to find out where's the magic in what you do is to experience you doing it. So a big chunk of what you're selling is you. Your care and concern for the people that you serve and the value that you want to bring to those organizations based on the things that you've already been through, which is really the best way to do it. Dave, thank you so much, first of all, for being part of the Forge, but also for being the first one to jump on this call and share with the world who you are, what you're doing, the value that you're offering. I'm really excited about what you're building once again, but I'm mostly excited about it, Dave, because this could mean that you no longer have to go down the same highway, the same flooded freeway as every other Agilist out there. You're living proof that you could build something that's just for you. All you need is a couple of new skills to figure out what it should be, to connect it with something that you're already passionate about, that you're already experienced with. Bring it to the market and demonstrate and prove the value through doing. So thank you so much for that, Dave. Anything you want to say before we close?
Well, thank you, Chris. It's been a fantastic experience with you and the other participants in the Forge Genesis. I've learned a lot. And I've experienced a lot. And again, I'm really grateful for your coaching, your mentorship as we go through this. So thank you, Chris, as well.
Of course. And you mentioned something important, that being part of the cohort means that you have all these other clever people who've also locked into their passion. Like the Forge Genesis is not for people who are like, oh, I should upgrade my CSM to something. This isn't really scrummy stuff. This is about taking your passion and your practice outside of someone else's control. Yeah, no longer you are a victim or a, what's the word I'm looking for? You're no longer at the mercy of the industry. And so you get to build whatever you want to build. But as you're meeting these other people in the Forge, you're like, that was a good idea. I should take a little bit of that for myself. We're writing down what we're hearing because these kinds of inspirations and this kind of collaboration really helps move the product forward. So I've seen you guys bounce on ideas off each other, and that's really been huge in helping you form the product. So good luck with it.
Thank you,
really
sir.
Excited. I'll everything that you just described, I will publish in the show notes below so that you have easy access to it, my friends. Please check out Dave and his work, betterwaysofworking.com, and stay tuned because you'll hear more from Dave as he progresses. So this isn't the last you'll be seeing of him. Dave, great work so far. Thank you very much, sir. Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too. Take care, everybody.